In this video, I'm going to talk about how to manage stress and how to regulate stress, and also how to regulate your emotions when you're balancing a lot, like work, school, and just life in general. So, feeling overwhelmed? This is a presentation on how to regulate stress and just feel and stay in control by me, yours truly, Leah. So, who am I? Of course, I already said my name is Leah Johnson. I'm a teacher here at Winho Elementary. I graduated from UWG with a bachelor's elementary school education, as well as from UGA with a master's of educational psychology. I'm currently working on my second master's in social work at Walden University, and now I'm back here at UWG receiving my specialist in elementary school education. My journey as well as my purpose. So, I'm balancing multiple roles. I am I tutor part time. I'm an intern. I am a student myself too. I wear many hats. I have a student hat, I have auntie hat, sister hat, daughter hat, teacher hat, and I just became a new aunt. So all these different hats can be very overwhelming. Today, I want to talk about how to it feels super overwhelming, a struggle that I face and am currently still facing and go working. Topic really helps me because stress and feeling overwhelmed is something that I've experienced for a while. Feeling overwhelmed while balancing multiple responsibilities like work, school, and life. And at times, just for myself and for others as well. And the truth is, this challenge is very common. So many people are trying to manage a lot at once, whether it's being a student, a teacher, or just people navigating everyday life. And it can what makes it even more difficult for real is that people don't always talk about it. From the outside, it can look like everyone has everything are dealing with the same feelings and stress and pressure. That's why I wanted to create this video to show you that you're not alone and to share me. My goal is that someone watching this, yeah, you're watching it. Yeah, my at least one of my ideas and try to feel a little bit more in control, more balanced, as well as feel more confident in how you handle your stress. I also had the opportunity to support a young student who struggled with the same frustrations as me. And her frustration would lead to often shutting down when tasks became even very challenging, especially when during reading activities. This student was a kindergarten student who would get really frustrated when asked to decode one syllable words. I know, one syllable. She could do that. That's not hard. But she struggled with a lot. She struggled with letter recognition and even letter identification. And after she will also struggle with sounding out words, sounding out different letters, maybe putting different sounds with different letters, or probably didn't even know the letters at all. When she did not know something, she would say, I can't do it. Or she'll just turn her camera off, which made me a little frustrated, but I get it. You was frustrated as well. And she also refused to complete the task, and she even shut down. At first, it seemed like she was kind of avoiding, but through this course, I began to really understand that it was a developmental response rather than misbehaving. By applying Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, I realized that the tasks were probably a little bit too difficult for her and probably a little bit difficult for her to understand and complete independently. Instead of pushing her to complete the work on her own, I became more structured and provided a little bit more structural support. This support looked like breaking tasks in smaller pieces, maybe studying individual letters or individual sounds before moving on to the next, as well as incorporating sound boxes And she also engaged in interactive activities to make learning letters more fun. By doing this, I added movements to letters and also added cool videos. Along the way, I also offered encouragement and praise, like giving her stickers or giving her fireworks, yeah, when she sounded out words correctly. Even if she did not get the whole word correct, I still gave her that praise on the work that she did succeed on. I also applied Bowlesby's attachment theory by creating a very safe and supportive environment so she felt comfortable taking risks and making those mistakes. And over time, I noticed that she became even more willing to try, even when tasks were difficult. I began to think she loved really receiving attention from me and making me happy, as well as her parents, even if she didn't even sound the whole word correctly. I was just happy that she tried and never gave up. But after a while, she started to stop turning off her camera. She even put more effort in. While she still experienced moments of frustration, she no longer shut down as quickly and even showed more confidence in her abilities. This experience taught me that behavior is often a reflection of a child's developmental need. And with the right support from me, from you, from any system, with the right support, we can help them grow both emotionally as well as academically. I know. I know you want me to get to my self development. Here it is. Through this experience, I realized that my stress was not just coming from how much I did or how much I had to do, but from how I was thinking about everything that I had to do. I used to tell myself things like, I have so much going on, or I just cannot keep up. And that mindset made me feel even more overwhelmed. One of my biggest struggles was consistency. Even though I'm pretty organized, I mean, I have to do lists, I have planners, I have the whole 9 yards. I used to become upset when my to do list didn't get completed. There were days where I felt mentally exhausted and didn't use any of the strategies I planned that day, which made me feel even more failing. As mentioned before, I'm a full time teacher. On top of that, I'm a part time tutor. With that job, I work Monday through Thursday. Even though it's online, I normally don't complete all my tasks and all my work until 8 p.m. every single night. In the moment, I feel like, oh, yeah, I'm unstoppable. Oh, yeah, I'm making extra money. But afterwards, it becomes very tiring and it causes me to feel a little burnt out. While I am having all these feelings and emotions going on, I find myself doubting myself and feel as though I do not have balance. I felt like I was doing too much, adding more on my plate than I can even chew. However, I had a major breakthrough for me. It came when I started becoming a little bit more aware of my stress instead of just reacting to it. By using strategies like stress tracking and mindfulness, I learned how to pause and respond more intentionally. Even though I was not as consistent as I hoped, Riley and Valentine French highlighted that emotional regulation develops over time and requires a lot of practice. I received and I realized that my inconsistency and my struggle with consistency was actually a normal developmental process. And these reference also helped me realize that developmental does not stop in childhood. It continues across adulthood. So the stress I was feeling is actually a part of adulting and part of the adult role demands in life transitions. Now, moving on to theory. Now, I used cognitive theory. It really helped me understand that my thoughts were directly influenced by my emotions and my behaviors. Once I started shifting my thinking to something more manageable, like I can do this or I can take this one step at a time, I noticed a real super difference. After learning from Miller, my stress was not just my schedule, it was my thinking pattern. My thoughts led to my emotions, which led to my behavior. This helped with my cognitive reconstruction. This experience taught me a lot. It taught me about my emotional regulation is not about eliminating stress, but about learning how to manage it in a consistent and healthy way. It also showed me that growth takes time, and it's okay not to be perfect as long as you keep trying and reflecting. And by applying the idea of zone of proximal development, it helped me realize that I was taking on more than I could handle without support. And once I started breaking things down and giving myself structure, I was able to manage my stress better. Now, let's tie this all back into my kid. Now, myself and my kid that I was tutoring had in common were that we both experienced the feelings of being overwhelmed with a lot of different tasks. And to address those feelings, we both needed support to help us overcome those obstacles. And over time, of course, we improved with scaffoldings. This experience helped me realize that not only adults, but children as well respond to overwhelm in similar ways. Without the right level of support, we both, adults and children, shut down. But with the right strategies and the right guidance, we can all grow together. Now, theoretical insights. Erickson's psychosocial theory really helped me understand why I was feeling so overwhelmed. In adulthood, we are expected to manage so many roles like work, school, personal life, all at the same time. And for me, balancing being a teacher, grad student, tutor, and intern on top of that created a lot of pressure. I realized that my stress wasn't just random, but it was connected to the expectations I was placing on myself in all of these roles. Erikson helped me see that what I was experiencing is actually a normal part of development, but it also showed me that I needed better strategies to manage that pressure. Vygotsky's concept, of the zone of proximity development was one of the most important ideas for me personally. It explained that we learn best when something is challenging, but still manageable with support. When tasks are too difficult and we do not have enough support, we can become overwhelmed and we can tend to shut down. This is exactly what happened to me as well as my student. In my case, I was taking on so many responsibilities without giving myself structure and support. And once I started breaking tasks into smaller steps and giving myself a little time and grace, I noticed that I had to handle things much better. I also saw that this with my student I worked with. When tasks are too hard, she would shut down too. But when I supported her step by step, she began to engage more as well as build her confidence. That showed me how powerful the right level of support can be. Piaget's theory focuses on how our thinking develops. And one key idea is that people can only handle tasks that match their current level of understanding. When something is too overwhelming, it sort of leads to frustration instead of growth. I realized that I was expecting myself to handle everything at once without considering my limits. That overload was exactly contributing to my stress. This also connects to my student I was working with. When the reading tasks were too advanced, she became frustrated and shut down. But when the task matched her level, she was more successful. Cognitive theory helped me as well, like I said. It helped me understand that my thoughts were directly influencing how I felt and how I was reacting. For an example, when I told myself I have too much to do, it made me feel very overwhelmed and stressed, which led me to shutting down and avoiding what I had to do. But when I shifted my thinking to something like, I can take it one step at a time, I felt calmer and a little bit more in control. It showed me that managing stress is not just about reducing responsibilities, it is also about changing what we think about those responsibilities. Now, biggest insight, growth insight. One of the biggest lessons I've learned through this experience is that awareness is everything. Before this, I was just reacting to stress without really understanding what was causing it. Once I became aware of my triggers and my patterns, I was able to start thinking intentional changes. I also learned that growth takes time. I didn't become less stressed overnight. And there were still days where I still struggled, but over time, I started to see progress, even if it was small. And that led to my last point, or leads to my last point, sorry. Small steps really do matter. Sometimes as simple as pausing to breathe or breaking a task into smaller pieces made a big difference. It taught me that you do not have to change everything all at once to see growth. Celebrate yourself, even if it's with something small. Now, what I've learned about myself. This experience helped me learn a lot about myself. I realized that I was not overwhelmed just because I had a lot to do. I was overwhelmed because I didn't have enough balance. I was constantly moving from one responsibility to the next without giving myself a reset or time to transition. I also learned that I need structure. When I started using strategies like time blocking, I felt in control of my day instead of feeling like everything was happening all at once. I read this book one time and it mentioned leaving white space in your calendar. I always thought I had to fill up my calendar. If I had white space, I had to put something in there because I thought I was missing out. I've learned that leaving white space is actually pretty healthy. It helps with self care, which I sometimes fail to take. And most importantly, I learned that I need to slow down. I was so focused on getting everything done and making more money, but I wasn't taking care of myself in the process. Slowing down did not make me less productive. It actually helped me be more focused and more intentional. My advice to you and to others watching this video, since you're watching this, I bet at times you felt overwhelmed. I want you to know that you are not alone. Let me say it again. You are not alone. So many people are balancing multiple responsibilities, and it is completely normal to feel that way. My advice is to start small. You do not have to fix everything at once. Rome wasn't built all in one day. Choose one strategy, whether it's tracking your stress, taking a few minutes to breathe, or even organizing your schedule, and start there. And most importantly, give yourself grace. Growth is not about being perfect. There are days and there will be days when things do not go your way or do not go as planned, and that's okay. What matters is that you keep showing up and trying. Over time, those small efforts will lead to real change. Here are some strategies. I know you've been waiting for this. The first strategy I recommend is stress tracking. This means rating your stress from scale 1 to 10. 1 meaning that you're calm, and 10 meaning that you're extremely overwhelmed. I mean, extremely. This helped me, and I use this. Yes, I did. This helped me identify my patterns. For an example, I noticed my stress was higher in the days where I had multiple responsibilities going on, back to back. Once I knew my patterns, I could prepare better instead of just reacting. Stress tracking is very simple, but it builds awareness and it makes you more aware. And awareness is the first step towards change. Second strategy is mindfulness. For me, this looks like pausing, breathing, and resetting before reacting. Even taking 3 to 5 minutes to breathe helped me calm my body and slow down my thoughts. Instead of immediately feeling overwhelmed, I gave myself a moment to respond with intention. This is super important because emotional regulation does not always mean avoiding stress. Sometimes it means learning how to pause before stress controls what you do and your response. And the third strategy is time blocking. This means planning your day in sections instead of trying to hold everything in your head all at once. Yeah, I was struggling with that. I use time blocking to break up my responsibilities into smaller pieces. For an example, instead of thinking I have so much to do, I focused on one block of time and one task at a time. This connects back to Vygotsky's idea of support and scaffolding. I hope I'm saying his name right. It connects back to his idea. When we break difficult tasks into manageable steps, we create support for ourselves and reduce overwhelm. And last but not least, the fourth strategy is positive self talk. Say it with me, positive self talk. One phrase that helped me along the way is I can handle this. I got this, one step at a time. Cognitive theory teaches that our thoughts influence our feelings and our behaviors. And when I told myself to keep it up or I got this, um I felt more stressed. Not stressed. I felt more relieved. I'm sorry. But when I did say I can't keep up, I felt more anxious and overwhelmed. I changed my thoughts and my thoughts helped me become more realistic and it helped me feel a little bit more supportive, which in return helped me feel more calm and more capable. Now, I want you to take a moment to say this. If you are feeling overwhelmed, you are not alone. There are many times where I felt like I was the only one struggling to keep up, like everyone else around me had it all figured out. But the reality is, a lot of people are dealing with the same pressures, and a lot of people are wearing a lot of different hats. They're balancing work, school, relationships, expectations. Hey, I don't even have kids yet, but you also balancing being a parent. And sometimes we don't talk about it. You just have to keep pushing through. But feeling overwhelmed doesn't mean that you're failing. It means you're human. What matters is how you respond to it. And that's something you can learn and grow in over time. So, as I wrap up, there are 3 key takeaways I want you to remember from watching this video. First, stress is manageable. It may not go away completely, but you can learn how to respond to it in a healthy way. Second, awareness is power. It's very powerful. Once you start noticing your thoughts, your patterns, and your triggers, you can gain the ability to make intentional changes. And finally, growth is possible. No matter where you are right now, you have the ability to improve and develop over time. So, yeah, I just want to leave you with this: keep going. You're growing. Even on days when things feel hard, even when you don't get it down perfectly, you are still growing. Development is a process, and progress doesn't, but every step you take really matters. Give yourself credit for trying, for showing up, and for wanting to at least. Now, I want you to take a moment to think. What is one thing you can try after watching this video? Maybe it's tracking your stress, maybe it's taking a few minutes to breathe, or maybe even organizing your day in a way that feels more manageable. Start with one step and go from there. Your growth starts with that first decision. Let me know in the comments how you plan to take action, give yourself some grace, and overcome your stress. Your growth starts with that first decision. I would love to know, and maybe, hey, I may learn some more strategies for myself from you. Thanks for watching.